Hello, and welcome to Health and Fitness Redefined. I'm your host, Anthony Amen. Join me today as we take a dive into the world of health and fitness, where we learn how to overcome adversity, to pick the facts for its fiction, and see health and fitness in a whole new light. I hope you guys enjoyed last week's episode. It was all about habits. I did very simple, cut everything together, didn't add anything to it, and I think it's one of my best episodes. So highly recommend. Go check that one out, which actually ties into today's episode, but I didn't let these guests know that. So that's going to be fun to talk about. On top of that, don't forget, we officially have online training through Redefine Fitness. Go to www.redefine-fitness.com. Check that out, guys. Doesn't matter where in the world you live. If you're looking for a nutrition program or an all-encompassing training program, it is for you. But without further ado, we're going to go back to a topic that's been pretty relevant in what we've been doing here. It's all about moms, and I know you guys love them because those episodes just blow up. So I am very excited to welcome the Power Moms with Trina and Tara. So they're going to give us a little more insight into how to be a mom, how to have that life balance, which I know, at least from talking to people, is pretty tough to do, because that's always the biggest thing I get as a trainer is everyone's like, how do I balance all of this? I have 4 kids running around and I don't have time for me. But before we talk about that, why don't you ladies just introduce yourself and let's find a little bit about how you guys started.
Yeah, Anthony, thanks so much for having us on. We are so excited to be here. And darn, are you right? These kids running around throw us for a loop all the time, eh? Tara and Trina with Power Mom. We are all about the mom, right? So I am from Long Island. I went to school down in South Florida, played soccer, was an athlete my entire life.
And I'm Trina, and I'm from Southern California, and I ended up in Florida doing for college soccer as well, and that's actually where we met.
And Trina and I are partners in life and partners in business, and we are out here in beautiful Colorado. So if anyone wants to ever come out here, that's where we are. But we created Power Mom about 6 years ago. The reason being is because we are moms. We are soon to have 8-year-old twins, boy-girl twins, and I am sure that if you're listening to this right now and you're a mom, you can relate to completely losing yourself. You put everybody else first, and you are on the back burner. And we felt that exact same way. I had the twins, and real quick, I worked a corporate job at the time, and I'll never forget leaving that corporate job. And it was a cold, dark night, and I literally started driving. I stopped the car. I slammed my hands on the steering wheel. I was hysterical crying because the thought of going home after working all day to then the job of mom was daunting. And so I, quick story, but I walked in the door and I was like, we've got to do something. Everything's falling apart. Like life is falling apart, where I felt like everything else was being put before me. Trina was feeling the brunt of it. We looked for a program for moms. We couldn't find one. And so after a crap ton of research, a lot of certificates, a lot of education, prior education, we created Power Mom.
That's a great story, and I'm sure it's something we talk about a lot, where you have to hit kind of, even if it's like mental or physical or rock bottom sometimes, to say, okay, I'm at the bottom. Let me take a deep breath. What can I do to get past this? And then eventually, once I get past this, how can I take what I've learned and then help others? And that kind of sounds exactly where you guys are coming from.
It has been nothing shy of remarkable seeing the transformation of moms' lives from 6 years ago all the way through to today, and just the benefits of really being able to put themselves first.
So my first question would be is, how did you guys learn to put yourselves first? What was that transition that happened? I mean, you said you pulled over to the side of the road and really broke down, but at what point were you like, okay, I need to go first? Explain that moment to us.
Yeah, look, it wasn't just about fitness. It wasn't just about nutrition. It was like literally losing yourself in yourself. Like you don't even know which way is up, and you're if you're a new mom, you're getting up in the middle of the night to feed them. If you're a mom of 8-year-olds or 10-year-olds or 12-year-olds, you're running all over the place. You got piled up laundry and dirty dishes, and you just don't know which way is up. And so we had to really dive deep into some self-development and really get this straight, right? Our mindset. And so I think we started to do that, and we started to journal and put it all down on paper and really dive super deep into what are we doing right now to make ourselves better, to level up ourselves, to feel good every single morning. And it took some time to eventually put that onto paper and then being able to translate that to other moms. And then as we dive deep in here today, you're going to hear us talk about extending you. And this is the latest part to our program, is creating really deep relationships. And so that kind of is all encompassing.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's kind of going above and beyond just what most people think, which is diet and exercise, and going beyond that, what's outside, how you're doing certain things, what's your day-to-day activities like, what's your daily thought process like.
That's right.
We've all had many experiences. Like today, I literally ran like a lunatic to hop onto this podcast to do it. So it's like we all get there. And at the end of the day, it's just, all right, I know when it's done. I'm going to take a deep breath and just let it all go. But
Yeah.
you talked about writing it down. So can you guys just talk a little bit about what certain things you wrote down? Maybe it'll be a little more specific into what that was like.
So you just brought up a really good point. Like, you are like running around, you're crazy, and you're like, I just am trying to get here and there. And so what it really comes down to is mom creating time and space for themselves, and then having a plan. And because when we have a plan, we're able to, work out that plan. But the first step is really understanding where you're going to go, right? Like, who is it I want to become? Because a lot of moms, they forget about that. They forget to look at themselves. Going to take a shower is like a huge ordeal, right? Alone, a hot shower, going to the bathroom, that almost doesn't happen. And so having a plan, or let me take a step back, looking at where it is you want to go. Where am I today, and where it is I want to go? So we call it your A point to your B point. And, this is like your 1.0 version. And moms were like, let's get you to your 2.0 version. So we call it the Power Mom 2.0 version. Who is that you want to become, and why do you want to become that person? And it allows moms to go, okay, wait, I do have these things that I want to do besides, just the head of mom. And being a mom is a precious gift. We are more dynamic than that as individuals. So we started looking, okay, what is it that you need to do to be able to get from point A to point B? And so we created what you call the daily practice. So you talk about that. And really, we encourage moms to have a plan every single day. So it can be like a half-hour plan to an hour plan. And we have 4 power components. So the first one is building you. And I talked a little bit about that. Like, who is it that you want to become? And then how do you need to get there? And I'll go back to that in just a minute, because it's a big piece, I think, for moms. And then the second part is fueling you. Like, how do you eat right? Like, it's so easy to grab your kids' snacks and that be like what you're eating for breakfast, versus making something for yourself that's really healthy and really is going to help you for just even start your day and get you through the entire day. How do we eat healthy foods as a mom so we have better energy and that we're our best selves? And then training you, we need to exercise, get those endorphins, make ourselves look good and feel good, and just have that energy and be able to give back, which is what the extending you is. When you put building you, training you, and fueling you together, you're going to want to give back to others, and you're going to have more to give, whether it be your kids, your partner, your friendships, work. You do all these things, and all of a sudden things are happening for you. And so why I said I wanted to go back to building you is, for instance, just to give an example, I'm a big person in the morning. I get up early. I have not always been a morning person, but I taught myself how to do this. I get up in the morning, I'll go to the bathroom, and I meditate, and then I will listen to some book. I will journal. I'll do my to-do list. We have a daily practice where there's 4 quadrants, and it tells you exactly what it is you need to do. And then you can build that around that and personalize that for your own personal wants and needs. So for instance, I love meditate. Tara loves to go for walks. She calls it her meditative walking. And so it looks different for everybody, but it gives people a really good guideline so they can personalize a plan and get from that A to that B and do that.
Yeah, I mean, you jumped around a lot there, so I'm going to stick with that last part we
Okay.
spoke about and really just add something to it, which I think is important. And then I want you to be more specific with how it relates back to moms. And the part I'm going to add is it's about not being reactionary to your day, but understanding you have to plan your day, which helps you feel more accomplished. If you kind of hop into a day and you're constantly just reacting to things, it's, oh my God, where did 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours go? I literally just woke up and I didn't accomplish anything I wanted to do. Whereas opposed to if you give yourself that plan ahead of time, you can make sure, even if it's a really small thing, you cross it off your list.
Yes.
And then at least that point, you know, you're taking a step forward and you're not just constantly reacting to scenarios around you. And I feel like that's a big similarity between running a business and being a mom. It's the same thing. Instead of reacting to your kids all the time, it's making a plan to help yourself, to help your kids, to help your family, to move forward. So is there anything specific that you see a lot with moms that maybe is a first step people can do while listening?
Yeah, I think so. We have what we call the daily declarations. So I found that moms don't give themselves time. They're putting everybody out there, right? So you wake up and you hit the floor running, you don't have time for yourself. And so this is where we say, wait, let's take a step back, get up a little bit earlier so you can create some space. And this literally will take 5 minutes. And we call it a declaration. It's a positive statement that moms can make emphatically out loud. But the key is involvement. And this comes from saying, you know, what you hear, you forget, what you see, you remember, but what you do, you actually understand. And so I'm just going to do a quick one is you actually take your hand, you put it on your heart, and you say, I am filled with energy. I have energy, I have health, I have vitality. And then you can say, I am full of confidence in my abilities, and I love, respect, and believe in myself. Look at yourself in the mirror, and you can high five yourself. You can give yourself a thumbs up, whatever it is. But just that small thing will start your morning out the right way in a really positive manner.
Yeah, and this is so funny because I'm reading this book right now, and it's about behavioral psychology. And one of the things is they're trying to show a relationship to how we don't like being fake. And what I mean by that is, as a human being, if I say I'm going to do something, then I will go out of my way to make sure that I hold true to that person. What they did was, it was pretty crazy. They had people first just sign an affirmation that all it said on this petition was, I promise to do what I can to make sure people drive more safely. Right? They signed this petition. They fast forward 2 months. They went to every single one of those people's homes and then asked, hey, can we put a 4-foot billboard on your property in the front yard saying, please drive carefully in this area? Did you know that compared to the control study, more than half of the participants agreed? So 50% increase agreed to have this sign go on, which is totally ridiculous because when they did it without doing this petition at first, the average yes rate was 7%, and then from 7 to 57.
Wow.
So that's a huge drastic difference of people they've burned themselves to something. And then they know they have to keep true to that. So they agree to do something completely outlandish, like putting a 4-foot billboard on their property.
Yeah.
So that's kind of exactly what you're saying there at the morning rituals, doing it to ourselves. If we stick to affirmations, which is why affirmations hold true, I am more confident. I'm affirming to myself I'm more confident. So when I'm going through my day, I don't want to be a hypocrite to myself. I said I'm more confident. Even if I signed a piece of paper that said I am more confident, I signed my name to it. That means I'm more confident. And that's going to force myself to do that more and more because I don't want to be a hypocrite to myself or to others around me.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a ton of tangible things, right, that moms can do, and we can go through some of those too. But what we're talking about right now is exactly what you just said. And it's literally setting up your subconscious to believe whatever you're saying. And the question you asked is like, what's something that we can start doing straight away? Most people think this is crazy. Like, I'm going to look at myself in the mirror and say things to myself, and I didn't believe it. And now you do it, and that's your energy, your vitality, your confidence starts to increase exponentially because you do these practices. And it's truly unbelievable. And like Trina said, it's less than 5 minutes for someone to do that.
It's free. It's 5 minutes. You can be consistent with it. And even if the kids walk in, you can be a great example to them. And that's part of the extending you too, is as you do these things, you're going to teach your kids how to live healthy. And that's how we're going to break a lot of the challenges that moms face, is by helping our kids understand that they can live healthy, healthy and vitality-ridden lives, and be confident with who they are. And it starts with us as moms being true to ourselves and then teaching our kids.
Yeah, I really wish that we weren't pre-recording this before the episode that actually came out, because this is literally a point I drove home. And I'm gonna tell it to you guys now, and then I want to hear kind of how you feel. I address habits to create, to engage, and make yourself have more fitness in your life. And by far, the biggest excuse I hear from people is, my kids wanted it. My kids wanted X, so I did Y. What I mean by this is, I have parents tell me, well, I had McDonald's. Well, why did you have McDonald's? My kids wanted it, so I went to McDonald's. So then you address the hard question. And the hard question is, why are you feeding your kids McDonald's? I mean, if you know personally that feeding it to them every day is bad, and you feel guilty about eating it, then why are you letting your kids do it? When on the flip side, maybe you should take it and feed them something healthy and do things that promote a healthy lifestyle, because don't we want the best for our kids instead of the easy cop-out answer? And I don't mean it. I know it's harsh and I don't mean it that way, but it's just like a cold, hard truth. So a philosophy and something I push through is teach your kids a reward system, right? Because I don't believe in totally neglecting out of everything fun in life, and no one should. I just told you I drank a beer the other day and it was wonderful. And I had apple pie last night and it was wonderful. But my point being is teach them reward. So a big thing I had to increase more exercise in people's day is take 10 minutes when everyone gets home and go for a family walk. This does two things. One, this creates family bonding time, and you get to spend more time with the kids and really engage and know each other. By the way, keep phones at home. And the second thing is you're introducing a quick little thing of exercise and going outside and movement with 10 minutes with your family. And you tell your kids, hey, you want Carvel? Well, how about this? You come and you do this 10-minute walk with us Monday through Saturday, and you don't complain. We do it, whatever. You leave your phone. And then come Sunday, we'll go get Carvel. And then you all go get Carvel. Because then what you did, you just added 60 minutes, which is a full hour of exercise, into your week. Your kids don't know you did, and this is them, they get Carvel out of it. And then you're enjoying that experience with them of going out and getting the true reward. Because if we keep giving someone something, it's no longer special. But if we make it a reward and give it to the end, that ice cream becomes so much better because, I earned it this time. So that was a big thing I spoke about. And I want to hear what you guys have to say about that.
It's like you touched on three huge buckets. And I know we only have a short period of time today. Maybe we need to do a second episode. But you talked on habits. You talked on like rewards, right? And that kind of process. And then you talked about excuses. Excuses are, I posted this yesterday. I said, not money. Excuses are the root of all evil. Because I think it's all over the place. And until you start digging them, and to your point, you're not trying to be brutal. You're just calling out the truth. And oftentimes we coach with such love and brutality at the same time, because it's like, no, this was the excuse. And we do hear exactly what you're saying all the time. I'll tell you what we've implemented in our family that has worked so well, and that we also have now translated into our program, is a red, yellow, green light system. And our kids literally from birth almost, so when they can understand, is red light foods are like hey, we run a red light every once in a while, but we're not doing this all the time, right? The Carvel, the cakes, the cookies, the candies, like we just don't even have it around. And every once in a while, it's a treat. We have yellow light foods that are the kind of the slow down foods, right? The crackers, the pretzels, chicken nuggets, not from McDonald's homemade. But then like green light foods, go for it. Eat all the fruits and vegetables that you can, eat all the healthy, all the fibers. And so we have this in these categories, and my kids will go, is this a green light food? We're like, yeah, I don't think you can eat too many plums or whatever, right? Like eventually you're going to stop. And then they know, like, is this a red light food? And they actually ask. And so it translates into habits as well, I think, right? You would probably agree. It's like, these are just the habitual things that you do. And you brought up a book before. I don't know if you've heard of Atomic Habits. Trina could probably talk to it more because she's further into it than I am. But
Great book.
Talks about good and bad habits and how you can kind of break some of that mold.
I know you want to add something to it. I'm watching your face. Go for it.
Well, I mean, I think habits are really, really important. And, Tara talked about the red light, yellow light, green light. And I love the simplicity of it because it helps kids understand, but it helps us as adults sit down and look at our plate and go, is this building my body up or is it not building my body up? Is this, ice cream something I really want 3 times a week? Or is it something that, yeah, you know what, I can find other ways to be healthier and still enjoy having dessert with fruits and whatnot. And with the red light, green lights, you know what, our kids, they're not surprised when they sit down and they have a plate full of a variety of fruits and vegetables. Like, that's not a surprise to our kids. Now, it's taken work. I'm not going to say it doesn't take work, because it does. It takes diligence. But that's where we have to have ownership as moms. And you touched on that a little bit with allowing your kid to do something that, it's not building them up. You know what? Sometimes we have to take that hard line as a parent and say, no, I know in the long run this is going to be better for you, for me to be the example and to set that hard line tonight that we're not going to go to McDonald's. We're going to go home instead. I already have a meal planned out at home, and we're going to go home and have that. And part of that's the planning piece too, because if you already know what you're going to go home to or make or already have made, it's easy to say, no, we're not going to McDonald's tonight. I already have food made, or I know what we're going to make. So a lot of it, comes together. And that's why we really look at a lot of things from different angles for moms to help set them up for success, so that it's easier to say no, because you already know, the things you're going to say yes to.
So 2 quick things. My 8-year-old son the other day said, Mom, if McDonald's is so bad, why does it exist? Like, why does it exist, right? Like, he's 8 and he asked this question. And so we went down the whole marketing route and how marketing's so awesome, and how McDonald's has been around forever. But like, if you can train them and make habits out of this, the kids will start asking these questions, and it makes it so much easier than as a parent to, foster the better choices and the better behavior. I think it's so powerful. And then as athletes, one of the first things in our program is called the weekly game plan. And it goes back to what you said earlier. And it's helping moms write a plan and fitting everything that you and us were talking about right now into, wow, this sounds like I'm trying to eat a whole elephant at one time, but it's really breaking this down little by little by little to just get better and better each and every day.
Yeah, I mean, it's so true. I loved something you mentioned where the accountability, and it's being that example. And it always comes down to that. It's just be the example you want to be for your kids. I see it a lot at the gym. A lot of parents will sign their kids up, which is awesome, by the way, amazing. But then they won't do it.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you're forcing your kid to come, but you're not coming. So how long do you think your kid's going to come for?
That's right.
And unless they have some outside thing, like sports, for example, most of the time they don't last too long. They get burned out because it's like, oh, why am I doing this? Because
Right.
it sits in the back of their head. Like, mom and dad aren't doing this, or well, why would I do this? So I totally get and understand what you're saying. And I want to brush up, and I know we're going back, but you brought it up before and I didn't talk about it. I skipped to another point, so I'm going to talk about this point. You mentioned morning habits and you mentioned exercise together. Another point I brought up on that last week's show is I'm just going to say, I'm going to give an example. You wake up in the morning, kids got to go on the bus. You put the kids on the bus, you got to run to work. You get to work, you work all day, you come home, you got to cook dinner. You cook dinner, you get the kids ready, you make sure the kids do their homework, you put the kids to bed, and then you go, ah, and you sit on the couch and watch Netflix for an hour.
Right.
That's like step one. And the last thing you want to do at that moment is go to the gym or do any form of physical activity. And you know what? I totally get it. Neither would I. But let's go back to what you said about mornings, right? Everyone always complains there's not enough time in the day. Everyone has the same exact 24 hours in a day. It doesn't matter who you are. So, you know what? If you just killed an hour at the night, why not, instead of taking a full hour, you take 40 minutes, right? So you watch Netflix for 40 minutes. Now, you had your unwind time. You go to bed 20 minutes early. All right. Now you wake up 20 minutes early. You're still getting the same amount of sleep. Now you just created 20 minutes in the morning to get some kind of movement, which is plenty to start off with, especially if you're doing it 5 days a week, Monday to Friday. So now you get your 20 minutes in Monday to Friday, early morning with no distractions whatsoever, and you can get your workout done. Because if you don't do it in the morning, what's going to happen to you is what happens to everybody. Mom, I don't feel good. Can you pick me up from school? The boss has me doing overtime at work. This came up. And before you know it, the gym has become the last priority on the world, and you'll never get there if you don't do it when you first wake up, before life has a chance of coming at you and screaming at you. So I want to hear what you guys say and push about that, but that's a big point I really drove home as well last week.
All right, so I'm a big person on this because there's a couple things I want to hit on. Is one, creating the habit of getting up earlier. It's not necessarily hard. What you do is you start with 10 minutes a little earlier for a week. Then you add 5 to 10 minutes onto that. Now you're at 15 to 20 minutes earlier. And then you'll add another 10 minutes. Now you're at a half hour. And I did this, and what I found was that I loved that time so much, I was getting up earlier and earlier and earlier. And so now I'm up at 6 every morning, no matter what. And I found that that's my earliest point. If I get up much earlier than that, I don't last as long throughout the day. I don't do as well. So I know 6 is a really good time for me, but I get up by 6. And one of the things I love that what somebody said to me is it only hurts for 5 minutes. You get up in the morning, the first 5 minutes may suck, but by the time you get going and you get into your routine, you're going to be like, this is why I do it. I love getting up in the mornings. And I'll tell you, I started running early in the morning at 6 a.m. And some of the sunrises I've been able to see and some of the wildlife I've been able to see and the quiet and the serenity I've been experiencing has all been worth making myself get up. Now, if I were to sleep in 7:30, that's awesome for me. But there are days that pull me out of bed because I love that time, because I'm doing things that make me feel good and set my day up for success. So you know what? At night, if I want to sit and watch TV, I've had my workout done. I'm done. Nobody interrupted me. I've done my meditation. And so those are habits that we just have to look at, and really comes down to prioritizing it.
Yeah.
I would agree. And I would agree with you, Anthony, it goes back into the excuse bucket because it's easy. It's easy to say, I'll do it later. I'll do it later. I'll do it later. And frankly, later never comes. And then tomorrow doesn't come. And then Monday doesn't come, right? You just keep this wheel that just keeps getting bigger and bigger and worse and worse. And then you start to feel guilty, and it continues to add to this whole cycle. And I was never a morning person. I never wanted to work out in the morning. Prior to kids, I would go to the gym when you have at night, and it would never happen right now. Never, never, never. So we create that time, and it all ties into your relationships, your support system. What can the kids do for a half an hour while you take care of you? And when you take care of you, you can take care of them so much better. So much better. So if it's they need to go do something quiet or read books or do Legos or whatever, that's fine. Look, if people have to go put them on a pad or in front of the TV for 30 minutes, you have to take care of you, and you have to rid that guilt and say, this is for me so I can be such a better mom. And get it in the morning, suck it up, and do it.
We didn't talk about this pre-show, how much this ties into last week.
That
is just like the perfect synopsis to what I really tried driving home for 25 straight minutes of me ranting. So thank you for that.
We can affirm that for you.
Oh, you just nailed the coffin right there.
Well, good. I do want to dial it back a little bit, because sometimes we get so passionate and we're just like, and this, and this, and this. And for people, it's like drinking out of a fire hose, right? Like, wait a second, I just want to shower by myself. Can we start there? And the answer is yes. And that's one thing I love about what we do with Empower Mom is we help you build and grow and start out simple, because I did not get where I'm at today overnight at all. It took many years of being like, hey, I need to do this. But what we've done is the thing that took us many years, we've said, here, these are the best practices so that you as a mom can learn to do this rather quickly. And here's how.
What's the most impactful thing that you've realized while doing Power Moms?
That moms are
Tough
able
question.
to. Yeah, the most common thing and the most, after we kind of they've gone through the program for a little and do some interviews with moms, I would say the number one thing is I had no idea I can carve out me time. And the me time is the absolute most precious time. And, whatever they're doing during that time, whether it's quiet time, meditation, prayer, working out, but it's that me time that you said it, there's 24 hours in the day. We all have it. It's finding the time that you don't even know is there.
Yeah, and it goes a long way. And is there any specific advice that you would give for different age groups for children and amount? So, like, is there a difference between someone who is a toddler to someone who has teenagers? Anything in that realm? Because I really don't know.
I think this is a lot of communication and family communication and communication with the kids, right? If the kids are a little bit older and they're more self-sufficient and they can go do something. My 8-year-olds are upstairs right now. They know we're on this episode, and you need to give us about 30 to 45 minutes, and they're doing quiet stuff in their room, and that's okay. If I was with a toddler or a young kid trying to breastfeed it, like it's very, very different. But I would say that planning the day, understanding what your demands are, and then what I and Trina love to call like the big rocks. What are the things that are absolutely non-negotiable? What has to
That's
get
a Colorado thing.
big
Big rocks.
Big rocks.
Sorry.
So picture like you got these big rocks, all the other little ones will fill in, all the other stuff will get done, but it's those really big things. You time, making sure the kids are loved and that you're giving them the attention, that your nutrition is planned, that your trainings are planned. I think those would be the biggest 4 rocks that we say, and everything else will fill itself in. And it's okay to say no. It's okay to say, no, I can't go to this party. I can't do this PTA thing. I can't do this school thing. It's okay to say no. And I think that's also another valuable thing. Like, it's so easy for us as moms to say yes to everybody and everything.
Yeah, I can be at this place at 6:05, this one at 6:08. I'm going to teleport to this place at 6:10, and I'll see you guys there later.
And
I'm going to pass out and drink wine.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, your kids are, yanking on you saying, I need this, Mom, I need that. And you're like, ah! It happens. It happens to all of us.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you would really summarize that you guys do differently? I just want to start wrapping this up. So anything you would really give out as advice to moms, any special something for those that maybe can't do the program and they just need help now? What would you give to them?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd say what makes us different, right, is that we're not just in one thing. It's very all encompassing, kind of a lot of what the practice that you're doing, Anthony. But Look, in the building you phase, I'm going to go through 4 really quick things. In the building you phase, I would start with the declarations. Go back in this episode and say some of the things in the mirror to positively impact your day. That's the first thing. In the nutrition, water. People don't get enough water. Start drinking water. Okay. Half your body weight is our motto in ounces of water every single day. Just start drinking water. The impact is unbelievable and people have no idea. So we're not talking about cutting your diet into macros and doing all this. Just start with water. So that's the second part. Training you is our third component. Get to the gym, go for a walk, do a class, run around up and down your stairs, move, start to do something. Check the box off that you've actually moved. And then here's a powerful go, extending you.
So just the power of giving hugs. And research has shown that we need a minimum of 12 hugs a day. I think it is 12 hugs a day to thrive in our lives. And so can you find ways to have that personal contact? And gosh, have we not seen how COVID and some of these things have affected our lives, because we haven't been able to have that that touching and the personal conversations and contact. So really working on how can I make sure I'm, giving hugs and giving love to people around, to your kids, your family, your friends, people around you.
It's amazing.
It'll make a big
We tell
difference.
moms, set your watch to give hugs, set your watch to drink water, do your declarations, and
Get your workout in.
move your body. So those 4 tips.
Wow, did you guys teleport back and just listen to that episode that came out and not tell me?
No, we didn't.
We did not.
We didn't plan any of this, I swear. The only other thing I threw in there was, besides the power of small movement, which is amazing, but just shows it's true, is sleep. I always tell my clients, water and sleep.
Yes.
We can
Two
talk
most
all
important-
about
Go to sleep,
sleep.
Yeah.
Super important. So I'm going to just give the last 2 questions I give everybody. The first one is, if you were to summarize this episode in 1 or 2 sentences, what would be your message?
Let's see. You see, he really is putting us on the spot. We had no pre. I would say, as a mom, you have to really understand you are the number one most important thing in your life. And there's a fine line between being, selfish and self-fulfilling. And so it's taking the things we said today and just starting micro.
I love that. And before we get to the second and final question, which is the easiest one, I promise, I just want to make a point. We didn't go to our sponsor this clip, and I did that on purpose, because as we started talking, I didn't do that on the previous episode because I so strongly believe in the power of these small, minute habits that seem totally pointless, but they just compound over time. And you guys just came in here without even knowing that and just said exactly the same thing. So this is how important I think this topic is. Yeah. So please, guys, go to last week's episode, share that one, share this one to all your family and friends, because this power of compounding effects is real. So definitely recommend going back, listening to that, listen to this one again. But now I'm going to get to the second easiest question of all. How can people find you, get a hold of you, give us all the good stuff?
Love it. So we can go to powermom.co. Powermom.co is our website. Powermom.co/info. And you can find us on Facebook and Instagram under Powermom. And we'll be around. I mean, we're here to help make sure that we can support your audience.
I love it. Thank you. And thank you guys for joining us on this week's episode of Health and Fitness Redefined. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button and join us next week as we dive deeper into this ever-changing field. And remember, fitness is medicine. Until next time.